Hello, my name is Rivka Malka, coming to you from my kitchen. We could have taken this video for the very special Tznius Kinus in a very serious location. And then I figured this is the most serious location of all. This is the Jewish home. This is where all the action starts, and this is where our attitudes towards Torah and mitzvos, this is where they grow and blossom. So what better place to talk about Tznius? Now, I'll tell you something. It's an honor to be part of this Kinus, but there was a time when this would have been the furthest thing from my mind, just far, far away, nothing that I would relate to or appreciate. I grew up, Tznius, I grew up with all the rules and, you know, of course, like the halacha. But I didn't love it. I didn't delight in it. It was just what I did. That's how a Yid behaves. But now I'm in a brand new place, and I sincerely love dressing Tznius. I'm opening up a Tznius store. It's called Joyously. It's a joy. So I want to share that place with you. I want to share with you something that's real to me. I was fortunate. I had a tremendous Yeshua, and that changed my perspective completely. So I guess it was around 8 years ago, and I was giving birth to my youngest now. And you know, it was interesting. Before this birth, I had a feeling of trepidation, and at the actual birth, I had a complication that is extremely, extremely rare, and I was going fast. I remember blacking out. I remember nothing hurt anymore. I remember just a sweet feeling of saying goodbye. The doctors and nurses, they all came. There was only 2 nurses left on the ward. Everyone else just came to help me. Everyone. They were doing whatever they could to save my life. They got an ovarian cancer specialist. They started giving me blood transfusions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blood transfusions. And that wasn't even enough. After that, I had 5 platelet transfusions, and finally, I was stabilized. The next day, they didn't know what would be with me. I was in the ICU, tubes everywhere. My hands were like covered with these inflatable things, I think, to keep the circulation going, and my legs, and everything was just, you know, I was completely incapacitated, unconscious, out, and they didn't know how I would wake up. I had been without oxygen for so long that they thought that most likely I would wake up in a vegetative state. Baruch Hashem, I didn't. I remember when I first woke up, my husband told me what had happened. It was a shock to me, and I went back to sleep. And when I woke up again, I started doing like this, like, give me a pen, because I couldn't talk. I had tubes down my throat, and I started to write, and that was how I was able to communicate. And my recovery took a really long time. When I was in the ICU, something amazing happened. See, those tubes down my throat that I keep mentioning, they were terrible. They were like a little taste of Gehenna, like you're choking on spaghetti and you can't stop and you can't catch your breath, and you just, you know, you just think like you're going to die, but you know that this thing is keeping you alive. It's very, very scary moments, and I had to get through it because, thank God, I wasn't in an emergency state anymore, so all the doctors were helping other patients. So I was laying there, and I tried to get, you know, into a quiet state just so I could manage and breathe through the seconds. And the thought that kept coming up for me was, Hashem, you love me. You love me. Oh, I don't deserve this. I'm alive. What could I possibly have done to merit being alive? I thought through all my maisim. I couldn't find one. It was just knowing that even beyond my maisim, even beyond what I do, there's this source of unconditional love that loves me so much, that wants me to be in this world, that saved my life. And when I left the hospital, everything looked different, and I was different. Inside, something clicked, something that I learned in school, something that my parents taught me, something that I probably told my children, but I just didn't feel that Hashem loves me, and that everything that He gives me, every mitzvah, every rule, every guideline for having an incredible life is a gift. And that changed my perspective on Tznius. It wasn't a big scary talk. It wasn't about punishments. It wasn't about lines and inches. It was this awareness that this is good for me. And I am so lucky and grateful to be a daughter in Hashem's palace. And this is how I walk, and this is how I dress, and this is who I am. And wherever I go, I stand for something. I said to a friend the other day, I said to her, my tichel leads me. It informs me about who I am. It goes ahead of me. It lets the world know I'm a Bas Yisrael. It doesn't have to be a tichel. Everything that you wear lets the world know and lets yourself know. I'm a woman of dignity. I'm a daughter of the king. What does that mean? It means that we are so lucky to live life with a standard. I cannot even tell you what a gift that is, that there's a way of doing things. A big temptation out there is to want to be in fashion. I'll tell you something, there's really not anything so cool about being in fashion. Fashion is basically many different ways to make yourself look good, probably thinner. That's basically fashion, and to draw more attention to yourself. That is not cool. That's basically copying everyone else. When you get dressed as a tznius woman, you are different, and it's such a beautiful difference. You walk in a world and you stand for something, and the people that you know, that you meet, they respond to that. It's not weird, it's wonderful. But the world is one thing. In this kitchen, you know what I'm concerned about? It's another layer. My own daughters, they're going to respond to tznius and to mitzvos depending on how I respond to them. If I'm cutting corners, if I don't like things, if I'm fetching about things, if I'm dressing differently in many different places, and they're going to pick up on that. And then my link in the chain is going to be that much weaker and weaker and weaker. It's only as strong as I am. I have this responsibility to pass it on. I want to tell you something about my daughter. I'm so proud of her. And I'm so grateful for this moment. But this was, you know, she's older now, she's 18 now. When she was around 12, you know, before we go shopping, we always say it's tefillah. You know, shopping's important. You got to, like, get that tefillah in. It's like you don't want to go from store to store. Please, Hashem, we should find the right thing, right? So we go to the store, we find a beautiful dress, beautiful, and she looks so good, and she feels so good, and it's not easy for her to find the things that look so great, and it's a little bit too tight. Drop, just like a drop too tight, like a girl knows when it's a drop too tight. And what should we do, you know? So it was a struggle, and we said, okay, you know, Hashem is with us on the shopping trip. He's going to make this happen. And we said, Hashem, we give you this dress as a korban. Don't think it was easy. These decisions are not always easy. Hashem, here, take this dress as a korban. And off we went, because now we had to go to all these other stores. We go to the next store. There we find the same dress in one size up and cheaper. So that turned out pretty good. But it wasn't even the first time it happens. This idea of a korban, we sacrifice for the people that we love. We sacrifice to be part of this clan, this important royal family of Klal Yisrael. So that's an okay sacrifice, to give up a dress. You know, the Yetzer Hara makes such a big deal. There's a lot of stores out there. We're going to find something that looks really good. One of the things that I do personally, because I do find that there's never a limit to how much you can grow in tznius, you know, because your Yetzer Hara might, he might keep quiet for a couple days, and then he might come up and sneak around the back door and find some other way to trap you, you know. So every once in a while, what I'll do is I'll just go through my closet, and I'll just say, I don't really feel so good when I wear that one, no. You know, because your body changes, you can gain a little weight, you can lose a little weight, things are shorter, things are longer. You know, in the same way as now it's very okay to tell a person, hey, wait, that's Lashon Hara, you know? That's an okay thing to say. When I was growing up, before the Chafetz Chaim Heritage Foundation did its incredible work, no one would say that. You were super awkward and very not nice if you would tell a person, that's Lashon Hara, I prefer not to hear. In that same way, I want to create an environment in my home and with the people that I respect, where they can tell me, hey, your skirt's a little short, or your neck is, or, you know, or whatever. It just is what it is. We're trying to do the right thing, so we might get off course, so we'll get back on course, and that's okay. The main thing is to understand that we're coming from a place where this is something wonderful. We are lucky to have this. We are so, so lucky. And that's my blessing to us, to all of us here, that we walk out of this kinus with a hisorus, with a feeling of elevation, not with beating ourselves up. Oh, I have to do this and this, or I won't bring the geula, and it's all upon me, or else everything's going to come crashing down. No. Walk out of here and know that Hashem loves you, and that if we surrender to how good it feels to do the right thing, and surrender to to the glory of being part of royalty, we can enjoy this mitzvah and spread that joy with our families and be such a strong link in Klal Yisrael. And I want to leave you off with an image. This is an image that it's really quite unbelievable. You know, you think about the world and the billions of people that are in there. It's just like a vast, gigantic world with islands and, you know, skyscrapers and villages and lakes and oceans, just like a huge world teeming with people. And in this huge, massive world, there's this little tiny group called the Jewish people. It's just like a little tiny group. And in that little tiny group, the Jewish people, there's just a little tiny group that knows the laws of Tznius. That means that there's a little tiny group that has gotten the chance to learn how our Creator wants us to look. Oh my goodness, we are the holders of a tremendous secret. And it shouldn't be a secret, a tremendous piece of wisdom. We have this connection. The Creator of this massive world wants us to dress like this. If we're not going to love to do what He wants, if we're not going to embrace this mitzvah, who is? If not for this tiny group of frum women, where's the energy going to come from? And on the flip side, we make this kinus, we have these conversations because we believe that from this tiny nucleus of energy, of change, of giving a dress up as a korban, of taking something out of your closet, of being okay with the criticism, it's not personal, go ahead and change it. It's an inch here or there. We can do it. We can really do this thing, right? We're going to create amazing, amazing things. Take care and every blessing to you.